Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Well, happy Flag Day, June 14th. It is about 4:30 a.m. that I'm recording this, and for the first time in 2 weeks, I actually wake up with an appetite. I've been bloated ever since I was recovering from COVID-19 2 weeks ago. I really willed myself to make a recovery yesterday because June 13th is an important anniversary in my life. June 13th of 2010, I had gone on my first date with myself, and when I was recovering from long COVID last week, I kept telling myself, I gotta make a recovery by June 13th so I can take myself out on a date again. Well, I recovered and I was probably okay with eating yesterday, but unfortunately I got into a little bit of drama with other stuff yesterday. I teach at a community college. I had a couple students who were struggling, and I was working with them, and then I thought I had a little bit of car trouble. Got out to my car and thought I had a flat tire. You know, it's college, and I think one of the students might have played a prank on me and let the air out of my tire. Among all the things they could have done, they took air out of my tire. I used to live out of my car, and to this day I still have a lot of junk in the car, and it probably made myself a target for all sorts of stuff, right? But I put air into my car and I drove away, but by then I had lost my appetite again. I went to sleep. I was exhausted also after dealing with all that, and I willed myself to make a recovery. Now, last week when I was recovering from long COVID and had no appetite, I told myself I'm never going to take my food for granted again. When I do make a recovery, to make sure to savor my food and not take it for granted. But you know what? It's easier said than done. When you get your appetite back, the last thing you want to think about was when you lost it, right? It's kind of like if you have a very painful childbirth, right? And you say, "Oh my God, I'm never gonna have children again. I'm gonna enjoy this one child that I have and never have children again." It's easy to say that at the moment you're having the pain, right? But you know what? Whether you plan to have children or not, if you don't, it's easy to forget about that pain when you're having an intimate moment, right? And then accidentally get pregnant. Or if you later on do want to have more children, it's also easy to forget about that pain, right? Unfortunately, 24 hours after recovery, I've already forgotten the pain of what it was like to not have an appetite, to wake up stuffed and all that. Well, I remember it, but probably not in all the colorful detail that when I was feeling it, right? And it's one of those things that, I know why we can't remember pain, because if we did, our species would go extinct, right? But for loss of appetite, it might not be the end of the world. Where it becomes really detrimental is when you forget the pain of a toxic relationship, when you forget the pain of dangerous activities, right? When you forget the pain of modern day things that you really do need to remember pain for. For example, I get myself, I'm so involved in my art projects, I often have accidents where I burn myself, and I'm not forgetting the fact that I burned myself. What I'm forgetting is all the details of how I felt, and how it created problems in my life at work. I go in there with a big scar on my hand, and that part's very easy to forget. The fact that it happened, I don't forget, right? It's kind of unfortunate that we've had to evolve this mechanism, right? But I can't blame the mechanism, because part of the reason that I exist today is probably because that mechanism, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show.